YouTube Oziko, the Goat House is back. Halfway through the NFL season, I got my top 5 players at each position based on what we've seen so far halfway through this NFL season. We're going to have in the next week or so here, heading into week 9, heading into week 10, we'll have our mid-season videos, awards so far, playoff predictions. So videos like that, along with our normal full NFL coverage here, picks, power rankings, all of it. We got it. Follow that Twitter to keep up to date, get involved with some videos, and live tweeting during NFL games, giving you my takeaways on the spot. Instagram, podcast, Patreon. You can find links to those along with the Twitter in the description and comments. Support's been amazing. Again, full NFL coverage. So if you're interested, please subscribe. We're about at that 60K. Be much appreciated. Before we get started with these top 5 players at each position, in my opinion, that Patreon has a bunch of extra content, junior score predictions every week. Those are up for week 9, time of recording this video. Everything's up right now. My bets of the week for NFL and college, updated playoff predictions will be going up every single week as well. There'll be a video in the near future here halfway through the season for the playoff predictions, but every other week will be on the Patreon leading up to the actual playoffs. Bonus content, Discord access, much more. Let's go on to these rankings. People are going to let me have it, especially for this first one here. I got Patrick Mahomes as my number 1 quarterback halfway through the season. I think most people have Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson's definitely deserving. Something to keep in mind about all these rankings, I watch football. I don't watch stats. That's the way I like to put it. Stats are a good thing, production's a good thing to have. I think it's more important what I actually see, what I gather from watching, and the stats are kind of confirm that at times. But I think too many people are kind of just watch their favorite team or a couple teams, and then they're just for the rest they're just stat watchers. I don't know if that applies for these, but that's just something to keep for the quarterbacks. But that's something to keep in mind for all of these because that's really not how I do things. I just go off what I see. To me, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football right now. And Russell Wilson's, you can definitely debate he's the best quarterback in football right now as well. And I'm not really going to argue with you if you think Russell Wilson's won. He's been fantastic. The deep ball's been unreal. A big reason why the Seattle Seahawks are winning games. Him and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett definitely developing even stronger of a connection. I got Patrick Mahomes 1, though. A guy that you just don't think can amaze you any further, and he continues to do it. But what's happening within the games? Look at the big game against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens, such a good defense, so good at blitzing and throwing the quarterback off. He just beats the blitz every time, and that's just one scenario, one specific example. Just beats it, and he's going to make you play a defense that you don't want to play, that you're not used to playing. He changes your whole game, and he continues to do that every single week and still just blow me away with his play. But same goes for Russell Wilson. He's right there. I just think Mahomes just makes teams kind of just go against what they're so used to. That Ravens game's a big example. It's a big game. It's a big win. So that's pretty big part there. That plays a big part. Russell Wilson has been fantastic. You look at the Cardinals game, though. They start blitzing him. He starts turning the ball over. It's tough to say that for such a great player, an MVP candidate right now, that he could have hurt his team a little bit, mainly the defense in that game. But we got to split hairs. We're talking 1 and 2 here. That's how we split them up. Aaron Rodgers, 3, has been vintage Aaron Rodgers for the most part. Here, and the Packers have had missing some guys, so he's going to have to work around. He's trying to work around that, and he's done a fantastic job. I think he's much better than last year. Already small sample size, halfway through the year, just been fantastic. Just doing some vintage Rodgers things, able to get outside the pocket, throw on the run. Last year, he had to throw the ball away a ton. This year, he's turning those into huge plays that we expect from him. I got Ryan Tannehill 4. Titans are on a 2-game losing streak at the time of recording this. Maybe not the best game against the Bengals, but, the whole resume, the whole thing that we saw, he's been fantastic. Sometimes it's like, Derrick Henry's not really, is Derrick Henry the guy, he's not really carrying the load. Ryan Tannehill might be the top dog right now for the Titans. You keep saying that kind of back and forth, maybe a mixture of both of them. So he's been consistent, been big time, making the big time throws, very accurate. Tom Brady coming in at number 5. And he's just getting better, with the Buccaneers, his new weapons, his new offensive line. I think he's made the offensive line better, but yeah, touchdown machine. Some of those, the deep ball, that touch on that deep ball is still very much there, and It's crazy. I'm not really surprised by that, but it's absolutely crazy. So he's definitely climbing up, making those big-time throws. He's going to get Godwin back. He's going to get Antonio Brown in the mix now. So he's actually going to get better, I believe. They're just getting started over there. So he's been super impressive along this way. Josh Allen just missing the cut here. Based on the first few weeks, he was looking like number one. He looked like the MVP candidate. Hasn't really played bad since then, but he's calmed down a little bit, but still playing outstanding. Maybe a wild card. I'm not saying I would rank him 7 or anything, but Derek Carr has been pretty impressive as well. I'm not saying he would probably be the next guy, but just want to throw that out there. He's looking pretty impressive. A very accurate, consistent guy right now. Just talking about the running backs. A lot of debatable things with the quarterbacks, 1 and 2. I think the same thing goes for running backs. I can debate all day on this. I got Dalvin Cook of the Vikings at number 1. What makes this tough to rank is Alvin Kamara sitting there at number 3. Huge Alvin Kamara fan, was in Tennessee as well. Is very high on him. And I put on there that I would actually rank Kamara as a top 3 receiver. When we're ranking the receivers right after the running backs, I would actually rank him a top 3 receiver, which he doesn't have that WR next to his name, so I felt weird putting him in there. He's that good catching the ball. I mean, he leads the league in yards after the catch, yards after contact, broken tackles after a catch. It's ridiculous. He feels more like a receiver right now. And that's why he could be, if we're taking away quarterbacks, offensive player of the year, he might be the top candidate for that. But it's so tough ranking the running backs. For me, I'm pretty strict. Running backs, I want to rank the best runner, on the handoffs or, carries at the top. I think Dalvin Cook has done that. I'm a big traits guy. I mean, I don't think you can even debate it at this point. The vision and the explosiveness hitting that hole, I think Dalvin Cook definitely leads in that. And you see that. He shows it on the field as well. I've seen him miss a game and a half with the Seattle game, has a bye, and he's still, top of the NFL touchdowns by a long shot, right there with Derrick Henry yards as well. So you can add the production to what I see on the field. I think the big part with Dalvin Cook is, if you take him away from the Vikings and you see the huge difference. They rely on him so much. The passing game is better because of him. So I think he kind of carries the load. He's just such an important piece. But just a dominant runner. At first, when you're looking at running backs, I want to see the vision and the ability to hit that hole that you see very quick. And he has that, but he has the extra after that too, making people miss, breaking tackles. He's up there. Him and Derrick Henry at the top, pretty much every category. Breaking tackles, yards after contact, in terms of running the ball. But Derrick Henry, definitely at the top. It's tough not having him at 1. It's tough not having Alvin Kamara at 1 too, because what he's able to do. But he feels more. Does he feel like more like a receiver or a running back? He's catching the ball out of the backfield at least. So it's such a tough. It's. Some people will probably disagree, but I'm not ranking him the top running back, but then I would probably rank him the top weapon, and some people may say that doesn't make sense. I think it makes sense, because I just have a hard time viewing him as running back receiver, but you combine the receivers and the running backs in a list together, then you have Kamara on top, and that's why I think he's the top weapon. So I think that makes perfectly good sense. But Derrick Henry right there with Dalvin Cook in terms of his running ability. Taking off, having huge games, doing nothing surprising there. Aaron Jones has missed some time. I still got him at 4. There's not a whole bunch of great running backs. So guys, this year. So the guys that missed time, I've seen enough from Aaron Jones to know he's the number 4 running back right now. And you see the Packers with him without him as well. He's that key of a piece. And you see him adding the receiving ability to his game, which is definitely a bonus when ranking the running backs. He's been fantastic, getting better every step of the way. I got Kareem Hunt at 5. And you would think Kareem Hunt, a receiving back. I mean, he's done pretty well receiving, but that's really not what he hasn't had that much to tack on to that. It's mainly his running ability. If Nick Chubb hasn't missed so much time, he might be in here. But Kareem Hunt's been fantastic running the ball, hitting the hole, making people miss, breaking all kinds of tackles. So, he's been fantastic as well. So these are the 5 running backs I went with. Obviously, some key guys that are injured halfway through this 2020 season. Maybe we'd see them on there. You guys probably know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to sit here and rattle off all the injured guys, but some big-time guys that probably would make this list. That's what I got there. Receiver, I got DK Metcalf. Good old DCAF. Number 1, how dominant has he been? Pretty tight battle between him and DeAndre Hopkins. Devonta Adams, who has actually missed some time as well. I've seen enough. He's been so dominant, such a matchup nightmare, and just has just completely outplayed. You see him double teamed a lot and just still the go-to guy. The ball is coming to him. So I've seen enough where I can put him in the top 3. I got Diggs at 4. Has slowed down. I think Diggs, through about 4 weeks was probably the number 1 receiver. So I think Josh Allen, the Bills' offense, Stephon Diggs, everything kind of slowing down a little bit kind of affected that. I got Tyler Boyd at 5. People may be surprised by that, but Tyler Boyd's been absolutely dominant. We could circle back. We didn't talk about the top guys enough, but Tyler Boyd's been the best slot receiver in the league. Obviously, can play outside as well. He's had a bunch of crucial catches that resulted in first downs. People are just having a hard time covering him. He gets open against the zone coverages, which is more important than getting open against man coverage. Almost every receiver, NFL receiver, should be able to get open against man. So he's been fantastic for them, and it feels like he's getting better every step of the way. But yeah, we talked about Diggs, just the big playability downfield. He does have some drops this year, but from what I've watched, those drops have been like on diving catches. But he's got that home run, big playability. Even seen him kind of go up and catch the ball, high point the ball. You love to see him add that. We talked about Adams already. Yeah, Hopkins has been another one of the, like Adams, like people know it's coming. Teams know it's coming. They still can't stop it. Sometimes the other Cardinals receivers aren't really getting much separation, so they got to rely on DeAndre Hopkins when he's kind of covered like glue, and he's still able to make the grab, so he's still able to make that play along the sideline. But Metcalf's been just so dominant. Another guy that you can be all over him, and he's still just going to bully you, still going to make that catch, but a touchdown machine. He's been clutch. I think you add that to it too. He's been extremely clutch for the Seahawks, one of the better playmakers in football. So I got him at number 1. Going on to the tight ends, not the best tight end play across the league. Not a whole bunch of standout guys. I did want to mention for the receivers, Julio just missing the cut there. Has had some drops and missed some time there, but he just missed the cut as well. There's a lot of receivers we could talk about. Kind of defeats the purpose if I start rattling off about 20 guys. Travis Kelce, I think, is clearly number 1 tight end. Another one of those guys where he's going to get open in the middle field. It's coming. You watch it on film over and over again. You still can't stop it. Just absolutely dominant. And then the yards after catch as well. Darren Waller's had his dominant moments this year. Those big games. Just such a factor. I think he just really, I'm not in love with the receiver unit. I think he really opens things up for that receiver unit and just gets the big playability going for himself and them. George Kittle missed time, and now he's going to miss even more time, but he still comes in at number 3. It just shows how good he is. Probably, in general, the best tight end in football. Jonnu Smith was such a mismatch nightmare for teams. Touchdown machine as well. You can give him the ball in different ways, but just such a mismatch problem where you can clearly see when he gets the ball, it's a problem. You can see it's a problem for defenders, but you can see it's a problem for defenses opening up things for other targets. Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, other guys. So if you watch Titans, you can definitely see that. And then Hawkinson, I think, has been a fact. It's a matter of getting him the ball more, I think. But when they do, he's big time. Crucial touchdowns. See the one at the end, the Falcons game as well. But he's racking up yards and touchdowns, starting to really coming along. Other guys, Hayden Hurst has been impressive in that Falcons system. Robert Tonyan's a guy that's kind of came out of nowhere too. So other guys I kind of considered. I really like Noah Fant. There's a lot of guys you can consider, but these are the top 5 guys I got, obviously. But I think Travis Kelce running away with this. Let's talk about the interior offensive line. You got a couple Cleveland Browns on this list. Joel Bitonio here. Why are these guys making the list for interior offensive line? It's because they are at the top of the NFL, very consistent at both run blocking, pass protection. I'm going to see a combination of both because the interior guys are really there to mainly they got to be able to run block. You got to be able to run block, but it's just a passing league. If you allow interior pressure, you're done. You're not making it in this league in today's NFL. So a combination of both is what gets these guys on here. You see a couple centers there at the bottom of the top 5, but Bitonio, the Browns guard, has been fantastic. Top of the NFL in both run blocking success, pass blocking success. Quentin Nelson, shocker, towards the top at both of those as well. Ali Marpet for the Buccaneers has been fantastic. He is also towards the top of the NFL and just dominant run blocker and pass protector for Tom Brady. And then Corey Linsley, same thing for the Packers. The Packers offensive line has been fantastic. He's been a standout guy for them. And then J.C. Treader, the Browns center. Just like Lindsey, those guys, Linsley, those guys have been. All these guys, it's pretty much the same thing and why they're making it. They're consistently good in both, pass protection, run blocking, towards the top of the NFL for the interior offensive line, which would be guards or centers. For the tackles, I'm kind of looking for the same thing, more in the pass protection category. Obviously, that's what you're there for your tackle. Ronnie Stanley, unfortunately, now is going to be out for the year, but up until this point, he's been the best tackle. I mean, that run blocking is the bonus as well, but excellent pass protector as well. Bakhtiari is actually another Packer that's kind of missed some games. You see some crucial guys that are high on these lists that are missing some games, but you've seen enough to show how dominant he is. Very consistent pass protector. You know, if he didn't miss some games, he'd probably be number 1 right now, but Ronnie Stanley's now going to miss some games. Bakhtiari should be coming back. But yeah, nothing surprising there. Dwayne Brown, you probably wouldn't know it if you just kind of look at the Seattle offensive line. It's not the best offensive line, but Dwayne Brown is one of the better tackles in football. Absolutely dominant. Consistent pass protection, run blocking. You see him at his age actually getting downfield, making those blocks downfield, and that's what the impressive part is. Same thing for Laramie Tunsil. You probably wouldn't be able to tell from the Texans offensive line, but he's been fantastic. Andrew Whitworth, at his age, he's a little bit of a decline last year. Will he take another step down? Looks like he's going up so far. He's been absolutely fantastic. Him and Dwayne Brown, some of these guys that are aging, you catch them just downfield with the high motor blocking. You know, I guess age doesn't matter for that category. It's just if you want it, if you can do it. So, yeah, Whitworth's been impressive holding that Rams, which was supposed to be not the best offensive line, but been way better than that. Big piece of that. So those are the tackles. Obviously, this because of injuries for a lot of these lists, they'll probably change as the year goes on. Let's talk about maybe my favorite position because how many guys are good. Interior defensive line. Obviously, Aaron Donald is at the top, absolutely dominant in really every category. Faces the most double teams as well. It's really not a surprise. Top of the NFL in sacks. Grady Jarrett's a guy that if you go run and look at the stats, I don't know his exact stats top of my head, but it's one of those guys that you probably like, how is he up here with the stats? It's because that's why you shouldn't be a stat watcher. Grady Jarrett is absolutely dominating this year as well. In on pretty much any type of play. Dominant the run stopping ability. I think he crashes in, he creates things for his teammates. He's been getting an insane amount of pressure in terms of sacks. Maybe next to some of these guys here, like Aaron Donald especially. What does he have? 2.5, somewhere around there. But he's getting the pressure. He carries this Falcons defense so much. He's providing the pressure for the defense, the rest of the defense. They've been playing better, the Falcons defense, though. But it's a big part of Grady Jarrett. He just looks so dominant when you watch him, just in every single play. Just blowing my mind what he's able to do. So, I think he's probably on the underrated side. People know how good he is, but that's why he's at 2. Stephon Tuitt, and we always know how I always preached at how good Tuitt is if he's healthy. The question is, can he stay healthy? So far, he's healthy, and he's been dominant getting after the quarterback. Also a big piece of that Steelers run-stopping group there. But, yeah, I guess he's part of a package of guys in both those, so I guess that helps. But he's getting the production. He's making the big plays. Stephon Tuitt's been fantastic. Akeem Hicks, a couple years ago, he's one of the top defensive linemen, in my opinion, in football. Last year was hurt. Now he's healthy again, and we see him towards the top again. Honestly, this might be the most important guy to the Bears defense. You think about Khalil Mack, you could definitely debate both sides. You would think, no, it's not debatable. It's Khalil Mack. You can debate it. That's how good Akeem Hicks is. Getting that interior pressure, just bullying guys, just driving them straight back and just dominant in the run game there. Seeing him tackle so many guys with one arm free. It's unbelievable. That's what we saw 2 years ago. It's almost like he's a clotheslining guy because he's only got one arm free. I see that so much with him. And he's just having a dominant year. Tackles for loss machine. Just constantly in the backfield. Chris Jones at 5. Kind of the impact player. Providing the pressure, making that quarterback make that mistake. Just continues to do that. Racking up the tackles in the backfield, but constantly getting that pressure. He's a pressure king here. There's a lot of guys I can talk about. There's a lot of guys. That's why I love this position. These are more of game changers than people realize. These interior guys that get the pressure, stop the run. These are the best guys in football, in my opinion. These are my favorite players in football. I'm really impressed with Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans. We could talk about him. He's dominant in getting run stops. He's getting some pressure as well. Same goes for Christian Wilkins of the Miami Dolphins. He's pretty much in that category as well. Really high level stopping the run, getting after the court. Calais Campbell's been great for the Ravens. Top of my head, I could talk about so many guys here, but these are the guys I really wanted to highlight here because I think they're the top 5 guys. That's what we're doing with this list. These guys have been insanely impressive. So out the edge rushers. A debatable one at the top. I got TJ Watt coming at number 1, Myles Garrett at number 2. Both these guys well deserving of being number 1. Myles Garrett does lead the league in sacks. He has a few, or in terms of the edge rushers, he has a few more sacks than TJ Watt. But what's going on besides those few, outside those few plays, those few extra sacks? Well, some dominant play from both of them. But TJ Watt, every single play, the plays that don't count as stats for him, are just ridiculous plays. You know, I mean, you see the Tennessee game, which is such a big game. He's in there, you know, making these plays that won't show up in the stats. It's every game, though, but I'm just highlighting a big game. In the running game, the passing game, getting the pressure, forcing the quarterback to do something stupid. Always reading the quarterback's eyes. So I think he's very instinctive. You know, he knows when to drop back, get the hand up for the pass deflection, or, you know, make the quarterback off target. He probably leads the league in, I don't know how to put it, I guess, yeah, plays that don't show up on the stat sheet, I guess, on the box score. And that's why TJ Watt is number 1. What's going on all, I mean, how many other plays are there besides those 9 sacks, you know, whatever TJ Watt has? Those are the most important plays. All those other plays, TJ Watt is dominating on those plays. Absolutely dominant. I'm impressed by his instincts at this level. Myles Garrett has been a game changer. You know, debatable number 1 here. It's just tough having a 2 next to one of these guys because they're both number 1 in my eyes. I think they're clearly at the top. I think just him making plays. You know, it's Brown's been mainly offense this year, but they have been in games against other really good offenses where it's just who makes that extra play wins. I feel like Myles Garrett has come up with that extra play, forcing interceptions on pressures, and then getting those strip sacks, getting those sacks. Got Khalil Mack at 3. Not really a surprise there. Yeah, I think what goes unnoticed is his run stopping ability as an edge rusher. Obviously, you want to be getting after the quarterback. That's more important for the edge rushers, but yeah, he's been consistent on both of those. So, and you see him facing double teams as well. It's not really a surprise that Mack's up here. Bud Dupree, another Steelers guy. He's been fantastic. Another guy that's, I think, kind of goes unnoticed. Maybe because of TJ Watt, but mainly because he's not really lighting up the box score, the stats on some of these plays. You know, he's forcing the quarterback to get it out fast. We see week 1 against Daniel Jones. I think that's popped up a couple times. You know, getting in their face. He'll blitz from the inside. That'll be considered a blitz, even though he's an edge rusher. So he's kind of moving around all over the place. Could be kind of this year's Darius Smith of last year. He's been very impressive to me. You know, you kind of wondered, because last year was really he's had okay years, but last year was his only like that good of a year. So you kind of wonder, can he do it again? I think he's playing better. I think he's actually playing better. I don't know what the stats say compared to last year at this time, but I think he's playing better. And Brandon Graham, you know, right when you think he's about to decline, he makes the top 5 list here. Again, most important thing is getting after the quarterback, but you do give some bonus points for being able to stop the run. Brandon Graham is. I don't know if there's a better defensive end, an edge rusher at stopping the run than Brandon Graham, but he makes the top 5 list because he gets after the quarterback at a pretty high level as well. You've seen him make impact plays at the end of games. So yeah, he's been fantastic. Other guys, Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett, been impressed from the Buccaneers. Zadarius Smith, talked about him from the Packers. I liked him last year a lot as well, so he's up there. Joey Bosa and Brian Burns, 2 guys that I want to see. Great players. But Joey Bosa and the young Brian Burns, they're getting these crazy pressures. They're so close to making these huge plays. They're so close to being number 1 on this list. They kind of got to finish. You know, you just got to finish. Brian Burns with time, I think we'll get that. Bosa, you know, I think he's been playing hurt a little bit too, but they're getting so many pressures. You know, that's great, and that's why they're close to being top 5. I want them to turn these into bigger plays because they're so close to doing it. But those guys are close to making this list, you know, as well, of course. On to the linebackers, off the ball linebackers. Lavonte David, number 1. That really shouldn't be a surprise. He's everywhere. You know, you can't pick out what he's better. You know, is he better at, you know, stopping the run? Is he better blitzing? Is he better in coverage? You can't pick it. He just makes plays all over the field. You know, he's just constantly making plays. I think he's clear number 1. Such an impact player. Eric Kendricks, number 2. He's really carrying this Vikings defense. It's probably the worst. It has to be the worst Vikings defense in the Zimmer era, but Eric Kendricks is carrying this. You see the coverage downfield's electric. You know, you see his run stopping ability, but you know, he's a tackling machine, getting sideline to side. I mean, he's everywhere. You know, so carrying on from what he did last year, he might be better this year actually, and it's kind of going to go unnoticed because the Vikings defense was actually pretty good last year. Fred Warner, 3. Another one, you know, just like David Kendrick, you know, excellent in coverage. He might be the best in coverage out of the 3. I think those 2 have a little more outside that, but You see, the athletic ability, rangy, but the coverage, he looks like a corner sometimes covering. It's unbelievable. Devin White, teammate Levonte David, just like him, he's everywhere. He'll kind of just have too much of a motor, kind of overextend tackles, kind of miss him at times. So if there's one knock, that would probably be it. But good in coverage, getting his hands on the ball, but blitzing. He's one of the better blitzers this year too. So that is fantastic, an impact player. And Bobby Wagner, starting to blitz him a little more, so he's starting to get in that category. But yeah, no surprise here. Been sound in coverage and tackling machine, and like usual, there's a lot of guys you can consider here. Roquan Smith of the Bears, he's been flying around the field as well. Darius Leonard's missed some time. I expect with more time, Darius Leonard, if he plays the rest of the year, he'll be up here. You see that last game was against the Lions. He's such an impact player. But Darius Leonard at any given time could be the number one linebacker in football. So that's a guy that definitely can climb up there for sure, and I expect to. On to the cornerbacks. A lot of good cornerbacks as well, which is weird because the safety play is atrocious, but the cornerback play has been pretty good. I got XAVIEN Howard at number 1. Big-time playmaker, but it has been, I won't say lockdown, but pretty close to that. There's more guys I would consider lockdown, not giving up catches, but he's consistent in coverage. Holding guys down, but he's getting his hands on the ball, making the play. Sometimes I think he kind of toys with quarterbacks a little, kind of gets him to throw the ball, keeping his eyes on him, knows how to read the quarterback, makes that big play. That's all it is in today's NFL. It's a lot of high power passing attacks, and just if you can make that big play that for your offense, that's just the difference in today's NFL. So I got Howard, that maybe the best playmaker in football right now, number 1. Jalen Ramsey, number 2, obviously lockdown and coverage. But what really stands out to me, what's that bonus to get him at 2? What's barely splitting up these guys? He's been excellent tackling, in the run game, or when a guy does catch it in front of his face, he comes up and makes that stick, that play. He's stopped, so many third downs. I feel like or just crucial downs, short of the sticks. There's so many of them I can't even count. So he's been outstanding. Jair Alexander of the Packers, he's had those games where he's kind of giving up 0 catches, 1 catch, which should be a little bit. He's pretty good at tackling, but there's sometimes a little iffy in that regard with his angles or tackling attempts, but dominant in coverage. And he's probably one of these games he's probably going to break loose with all these interceptions. He's going to start adding the interceptions, the playmaking ability to his game, because I know he has it in him. We've seen that at Louisville, but been absolutely locked down so far. Marlon Humphrey, been a lockdown guy. When the ball does get in somebody's hands, he comes up and makes that play. He feels like he's forcing the ball out a ton, but flying around the field, being physical in coverage and man coverage. They got a tough task there in Baltimore because they play a lot of cover 0 in blitz guys, so that is a lot of responsibility for those corners there. Him and Marcus Peters. Xavier Rhodes, surprisingly, at number 5, once was the best corner in football, elite corner. They kind of went away from that, but he's playing outstanding this year, very tight in coverage. Seen him make a couple plays earlier in the year. So yeah, he's been impressive. That Colts defense, really playing together there, balanced high motor defense, and Xavier Rhodes part of that. There are so many corners we can talk about. And the Fuller brothers, Kendall Fuller, Kyle Fuller, just missed the cut. They've been fantastic. Kendall Fuller's been almost like a lockdown, at times. Kyle Fuller, I've liked that. He's coming up and hitting people. I think he's adding a little more to that to his game. James Bradbury's been fantastic. It's tough leaving a guy like James Bradbury out of this list because he's been another lockdown guy. There's just so many good corners. Top 5 is such a small number here. So I'm trying to talk about other guys that deserve some credit here. The 2 Buccaneers guys, Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis, they've been fantastic playmakers. Carlton Davis getting the pass deflection machine. Sometimes, they drive me nuts how far off they play on the ball sometimes. So then they kind of give up some short throws, quick throws on third down. So if I had to nitpick, maybe that's why they didn't make the list. But these guys are just playing out of their minds right now. Jason Verrett, another one. There's just so many corners that are playing really good ball. Safeties, on the other hand, there's some ones that are playing really, really good ball, but there's not a long list of them. A lot of disappointing play. But Jessie Bates, number 1 safety for me, the free safety of the Bengals, sometimes all alone, a lot of the time all alone at center field. He's a playmaker, knows how to read the quarterback's eyes, knows how to read the routes. Obviously, he knows how to jump the ball, just making play after play. But in his responsibility and his coverages, he is the best safety in football in QBR and completion percentage, and that's crazy. That's crazy because he's back there by himself a lot. That is insane. So I think without a doubt, I know a lot of people like Budda Baker. I love Budda Baker. I think without a doubt, Jessie Bates is the best safety in football right now. This kid's this kid's unbelievable right now, and he's just a kid. He's just an up-and-comer here. But Budda Baker's been fantastic. Instinctive dude, part of so much of the game, playmaking ability now, adding that. People kind of worried about that. Can he add interceptions, playmaking ability to his game? He's done that now. But yeah, blitzing, being part of that game is just ridiculous. The run game. So the total package guy and why he's, I think the 1 and 2 really separate themselves this year. Because there's been some inconsistent, sloppy play from the rest of the group. I think 1 and 2 are really, really separating themselves. Tyrann Mathieu 3, though, I think mainly because of his instinctiveness, I suppose. Just recognizing plays, understanding plays, helping his teammates, but covering from the slot, covering downfield, kind of doing his thing there, run support, the total package. Justin Simmons started a little slow, actually, this year because he was so great last year towards the top of the NFL, one of the better free safeties, a guy that kind of plays like Jessie Bates, plays in the center field a lot. Started a little slow early in the year, but he's really picking it up lately. Super instinctive in the back end, attacking the ball. We've even seen him line him up more man coverage, which we didn't really see a whole bunch of in the past. Cover guys one-on-one. Just so good at covering deep downfield. He's just so good at it. I don't know if there's, maybe besides Bates, I don't know if there's anybody better in the deep coverage, and it's a hard job if you're playing. There's free safeties, and then there's the single high free safeties. Sometimes they don't only play that, but the single high free, basically your center fielder. How hard that job is. It's unbelievably hard. So yeah, Bates and Simmons. I got a rookie in here, Antoine Winfield Jr. Another Tyrann Mathieu type, just because what is he? Is he a free? Is he a strong? Is he in the box, almost like a linebacker, slot corner? He's playing all of it, making plays in the backfield, getting after the quarterback, the running back, getting rangy sideline to sideline, making plays in the balls in the air, crucial plays, third down. So I'd put him in there. There's not too many guys giving him a run for his money there for the top 5. So safety play has been pretty interesting. So you see a rookie really stepping up. That's impressive. How good he is. I still can't believe there was 3. And it's only a small sample size, just year 1, not even through it. But I just still can't believe he was the 4th safety taken. Mind blowing. I thought was clearly the best safety in the class, and he's showing it right now. But yeah, those 2 guys at the top are playing out. The safety group as a whole, because how many play? There's most time 2 starting for each team, so a lot of safeties getting playing time. So majority, safety play as a whole, maybe making the group look bad, but then guys like Jessie Bates and Budda Baker aren't. Don't put them in that category because they're playing out of their minds this year. They're career years right now, and they're young and getting better here. So those are my rankings. I can't wait to, people are going to rip me in the comments because they're wondering where this guy's at, that guy's at. But, I would say it's only 5. It's only 5 guys here. We're only halfway through the season. If I don't have them on this list, doesn't mean I don't think they're good. And then, maybe try watching some of these other guys too, equally to your favorite players. That's usually what I, try to tell people because it's really hard to watch all of them at the same time or, because they're playing a lot at the same time. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, your rankings. We can definitely talk about this in the comments. That'd be very cool. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you did. Full NFL coverage every week. We even got the full coverage in the offseason, free agency, and the draft. So please subscribe, turn notifications on. Be much appreciated. Always adding more content here, so the notifications would definitely help. Follow that Twitter for even more content there. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for their support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.